Once again, we welcome you to Exiles TV here on Pelican Broadcasting. So glad to have you with us. Wednesday, 21st of October. Yikes. You know, quite often it seems when terrible things happen in our city, the adults learn a lesson. Unfortunately, it seems like the student body, for the most part, at LSU, has not learned a lesson. Do you remember the Max Groover case a few years back where the young guy pledging for a fraternity wound up dead from alcohol poisoning? We've got a similar incident again, turns up in the headlines this morning.
This one is kind of twisted.
It's a little weird. There's some stuff still unknown about it.
What we are finding out now is that after a big party, two LSU underclassmen left the fraternity party at Phi Kappa Psi, and they went to an apartment that was the female's apartment at the Arlington area, those really nice apartment and townhomes near Tigerland, but not in Tigerland.
So it's off-campus housing.
Yeah. And he ended up being admitted to the hospital for acute alcohol poisoning. He is in bad shape, but he is expected to recover. The female student took her own life later that day. So,
tragic.
What we are looking into now is a fraternity that has been suspended indefinitely pending an investigation, Phi Kappa Psi, and we have a dead female who is yet to be identified and a very badly ill with alcohol poisoning male student, and now they're looking into whether or not the hazing statute that was passed in the wake of Max Groover's death has been violated. LSU is looking into it for student code of conduct violations, and the DA's office is looking into it.
Got a quote here from the Strategic Communications Vice President for LSU, Jim Sabarin. I hope I'm not mispronouncing your name, Jim. Said, what we're looking at may or may not be a single incident, but it stems from a single incident. What we are looking at is, does that show any evidence whatsoever of violation of the law and LSU policies? We have a new law on state books, the Max Groover law, that has to do with hazing to the point of injury. So there's a lot more to be known about this yet, but we do know that one young woman is dead. Another young man will recover, but he's in bad shape right now. And we know little else of what went on that Sunday night.
Hiller Moore was quoted in The Advocate. This case looks unbelievably similar to the Groover case. There are a lot of parallels with one exception. Everyone who has been questioned so far is cooperating with the investigators. He continued to say, we simply want to know what happened in order to take the appropriate actions. And of course, he said this is an ongoing investigation. But you know, you raised a question, we were talking before we went on air, and I think it's a valid question. Is when are young people going to realize that you can get in way over your head very quickly, and there's usually not somebody around to substantially help you through it? When are you going to get to the point where you say, you know what, I don't want to be cooled to death? Now,
I've always considered it personally. I've had this switch that goes off in me. And I've had it since I was very young in drinking incidents. I just reach a point where I go, nope. Internally, I go, I've had enough. It's time to stop. So I've always felt bad for the people who had no idea when it was time to stop.
Well, you know, when I was at LSU, I was no angel. And I drank. And I drank to excess. I did not ever drive because at that time you could walk to everything near the LSU campus where you wanted to party with your friends. But I also, no matter how many drinks I'd had, no matter how ridiculous I was speaking or acting, I also knew that there was a point at which the alcohol now has control over my body in terms of basic metabolic functions, and I don't. And I don't think I ever got to that point out of pure fear. And the point I'm trying to make is I think a lot of these people don't have a good fear response. A lot of these folks that get into trouble don't say internally, I'm afraid of what that next drink might do to me. You're playing Russian roulette sometimes, particularly now. They drink these high alcohol, multi-combination sweet drinks, so you don't feel like you're drinking. You don't get that burn.
You're drinking candy, baby.
Yeah, it doesn't taste bad. And you just whack it on down.
It's tragic. The question in my mind is, the young woman who committed suicide, did she do so because she was despondent over the young man who was hospitalized, or for another reason, because maybe she felt responsible? We don't know. If I may, I can read from this is an Advocate article written by Andrea Gallo and Leah Skeen. It says. The trouble began after a gathering of Phi Kappa Psi. Have I got time to get into this, or should I wait till after the commercial?
Well, let's continue. We have a commercial break.
All
And
right.
there's a lot more that needs to be said about this.
Yeah, a lot more. So tell you what, I'll give you some more information from this Advocate article when we come back. We're going to take a quick break on Exiles TV.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Back to Exiles TV. Glad to have you along with us. Kevin Gallagher, Bill Profita. A tragic story that is unfolding that is tied to the LSU campus, but it could be any major college campus in this state.
Sure.
It could be UL, it could be Loyola, it could be Tulane, it could be Southern. We have a young man who had to be hospitalized for alcohol poisoning after a fraternity party. We have a fraternity, Phi Kappa Psi, that is on suspension. We have an investigation by the DA's office as to whether the criminal hazing statute had been violated. And we have a young woman who is dead at her own hand, or I should say by her own hand, who was keeping company with the young man who has alcohol poisoning.
From the Advocate article, this is as much as we know so far, put together by Advocate writers Andrea Gallo and Leah Skeen. And I'm skipping down into the body of the article. The trouble began after a gathering of Phi Kappa Psi brothers that lasted into the early hours of Monday morning. Things went south when one of the fraternity members, a Jesuit high school alumnus from New Orleans, headed to a young woman's apartment at Arlington Cottages and Townhomes near the LSU campus. He had planned to spend the night there. Instead, he was admitted to the hospital with severe alcohol poisoning, according to several people close to the investigation who are not authorized to speak to media. Reached by phone on Tuesday, the young man's mother declined to make a public statement to the Advocate. LSU spokesman Ernie Ballard said the university was looking into the circumstances that occurred off campus overnight, leading him to be hospitalized. Several hours after her companion was hospitalized, the female LSU student, a St. Mary's Dominican High School alumna from Metairie, was found dead inside her apartment. Baton Rouge police are continuing to investigate the death, which was reported Monday afternoon. The coroner's office confirmed Tuesday that her death had been ruled a suicide. And as Bill mentioned to me during the commercial break, it's not very often that Bo Clark, our coroner, will come forward with a suicide pronunciation that quickly. Things must have been rather obvious.
Yeah. Or this young woman was in trouble before this incident. And when I say in trouble, I mean was struggling emotionally, was despondent. Now, what is interesting about this is that, as you might imagine, it's not the first time this fraternity has popped up as an interesting investigative target to LSU and the DA's office. Last month, LSU police reported they were investigating a hazing incident involving Phi Kappa Psi that was reported to them. They were also the subject of a serious complaint. In 2017, a person who described herself as, quote, a concerned sister of someone pledging Phi Kappa Psi, said her brother was, quote, terrified of speaking out, but that he was dealing with verbal assault, last-minute requirements by older members, and a lack of sleep due to having to leave home at all hours of the night and stay out late. Now, that complaint has been resolved by LSU, but we don't know how. People are drawing parallels to the Max Gruber case, and I do understand that. But what is really happening with this investigation is they are actually something that I think was kind of glossed over in the Max Gruber investigation, and this is my opinion only. They are looking at this to find out whether the male student, in this case, the one who was hospitalized, became intoxicated of his own accord, or if he was being pressured by other members of the fraternity to drink more than he should. The cops are also going to seek to find out whether other fraternity members tried to get him to medical attention after realizing his condition. There is no mention as to whether or not the female who took her own life was under the influence of alcohol, either from witnesses who saw them leave together,
or drugs.
yeah, or from the coroner's report. I think that that's probably a piece of information that we will all get. But, you know, just like the shots fired problem in Baton Rouge, where we're getting more and more shots fired, it seems that we're getting more and more of these alcohol intoxication hospitalizations and fatalities. They seem to almost always land at the doorstep of a fraternity. And it certainly has to make you wonder what the parents of these young people have prepared them for or not prepared them for. it costs a pretty hefty amount of money to have your kid in a fraternity or sorority at LSU.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's safe to say that these days, mom and dad are picking up the bills.
Yeah, I think that's fairly safe to say.
You don't have a lot of, pardon me, ma'am, I'm working my way through college. Would you like to buy, a vacuum cleaner? But I said this during the Max Groover case, and I will say it again. They, meaning his parents, were warned. His dormitory roommates called and said, look, he is drinking and getting high or getting high every single day. He's not going to class. I think he's in trouble. And there are a couple of things that didn't happen, one of which was they didn't get in their vehicle and take the 7-hour drive from Atlanta and grab him by the ear and take him home. Which, by the way, when I was at LSU, I saw that happen not once, not twice, but 3 times.
Max would be with us today.
In my circle of friends, where mom and dad said, you're majoring in rum and coke, and you're headed for trouble, you're out for this semester. I just
Put you in
don't
community
know
college.
what the parents are doing with these kids. Are they saying, oh, being in a great fraternity is important, whatever you have to do, get into that fraternity? Or are they saying, look, if they make you uncomfortable, if you feel pressured, you walk.
Well, I think it's a case of, in some cases, it's a case of the kid gets plenty of the wrong kind of attention from the parents and not enough of the right kind of attention. It's no secret with a lot of people that today's parents seem to be obsessed with being their kid's bestest buddy. And they don't want to be the heavy that enforces any kind of reasonable behavior on the child.
I'm serious about this. When I was old enough to get behind the wheel of a car, and certainly if I wanted to, I could have faked my way into a drink. And there were times when I managed to fool the doorman and had a drink before I was legally able to. My father told me, you can come to me with anything, either before or after, except this. If you get arrested for DWI, you better call your Uncle John, because I'm not coming.
Yep.
Uncle John loves you a lot more than I do. He may come and bail your butt out, but it won't be me. And I knew he meant it.
That was the rule in our house, was if you get in trouble for DWI, theft, or drugs, and they say you got one phone call, don't call home, because we'll let you sit.
But do parents now, I mean, I've got parents of college age all around me in my neighborhood. And I can see, when the weather's nice and everybody's in their yards and, we do backyard happy hour in our yard. I see some of them handing their kid, who I know is only 15, a beer. All right. You can do that.
A beer.
But do these parents, when they go off to college and say, you get a DWI, you're coming out of that fraternity, you're coming out of that college, you're coming home. Do they say that, or they say, well, we'll work it out somehow? What's the message that a lot of these kids are getting or aren't getting?
Well, I think it's a mixed message. I think some parents are doing the right thing and some parents clearly are not. All I can hope is that I'm very sad that we've had a young woman commit suicide over this, and I can only hope that the student himself recovers and is going to be okay, and that they get to the bottom of this. But clearly the problems of Greek life on the LSU campus are not done. I would have thought that the Max Groover case would have shown enough light on the situation that the Greeks would have gotten themselves in order and self-policed so that they didn't become extinct. As it is, if they don't, they might become extinct.
But I think they handled the Max Groover case, again, simply my opinion. I think they handled it improperly, because they never showed how Max Groover contributed to his own demise. In fact, they were afraid to do so. They were trying to look...
You're not supposed to criticize the victim, but sometimes the victim, he's the victim of his own bad judgment.
But we have for years in this country, as a legal principle, recognized contributory negligence as a valid principle and also an investigative tool. And they were looking for individual villains. They had to have somebody that they could put into a perp walk. That left the rest of the fraternity kind of off the hook. If they had a sweeping rule at LSU that said you are not allowed any private rush events. You decide who you want based on their application, and if you have any parties with drinking where they have to answer questions or they get slapped around or they're made fun of or ridiculed, then you will no longer have a charter. But they didn't do that, did they? You know why? I'm thinking probably 3/4 of the people who are on the committee that makes that decision were Greeks themselves.
Yep. I personally don't think there should be any hazing. There should be no initiation. As Bill just said, you either accept them into the frat or the sorority, or you don't. Simple as that. And once you're accepted, you shouldn't have to you really shouldn't have to do anything extraordinary as a fresh new member. They should be glad to have you.
Animal House is a very entertaining movie, but that is not reality in the 21st century.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
You know why it's not reality in the 21st century? It's because the young college men and women of the 21st century have had an entire generation of irresponsibility in their upbringing.
Let's see. We're going to take another break. As you know, there are big elections coming, and we're going to talk about that, among other things, with Bo Staples. He's the political director for the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry, the LABI. That conversation starts in just a moment on Exiles TV.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Cantea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Cantea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Surprise, something good has finally happened in 2020. Yours truly, the Clarence Bugg Show, gets to be with you every day of the week. That's right, 11 to 12 every weekday. And of course, the Exiles right in front of yours truly from 10 to 11, yours truly 11 to 12. So now it's appointment viewing. 5 days a week here on the Pelican. The Clarence Bugg Show. The only thing missing is you.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
You could be driving.
Right now, during the Team Honda Upgrade event, get a new 20 Accord Sport for just $309 a month with no money down, no first payment, and no security deposit. It's time to upgrade to your new Honda at Louisiana's #1 new car dealer, Team Honda on Segan Lane.
Welcome back. It's Exiles TV. Bill Profita over yonder. I'm Kevin Gallagher, and joining us now in the center chair is Bo Staples. He is the political director for the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry, LABI, sometimes called LABI.
And we're going to get to Bo in just a second as they take a look at elections, but there's something coming up on your ballot on November 3rd I need to talk to you about. If you're tired of the endless roller coaster of fiscal cliffs on November 3rd, change that and vote yes on Constitutional Amendment 4. Yes on 4 means a stable budget process and job growth for Louisiana. Vote yes on Constitutional Amendment 4. This message paid for by Pelican Action. For more information, you can visit pelicanaction.org. And we thank you very much. Now then, you are the political director with LABI. You represent business interests all over this state. You're a big part of economic development in this state. What you all say matters. And at election time, what you all say sometimes matters a whole lot even more. So as we go into November 3rd, what are you looking at? What's on your radar?
Yeah, so thanks for having me. Our PACs go through a rigorous process of interviewing candidates, going through their questionnaires, trying to figure out who are going to best support the issues of business and industry. And in this year, it's judicial elections. We handled all the legislative elections last year, and this is the big judicial cycle. Every 6 years, the voters of Louisiana get to change their entire judiciary for the most part, every district judge in the state. So we went through the process of kicking the tires on about 60 different candidates, issued about 30 endorsements. With the confirmation of Amy Coney Barrett kind of taking up the media cycle last week, you see this nomination by the president and confirmation by the Senate. Here in Louisiana, the voters actually get to decide, which is not unique to our state, but we're one of about half the states that actually have elected judges. So in North Louisiana, there's a Supreme Court race where we've endorsed Jay McCallum. And that kind of mirrors Congressional District 5 up there, Monroe, Alexandria, and Ruston. In New Orleans, there's another Supreme Court race. It's 2 of our 7 justices are on the ballot. The seats are on the ballot. And that is, we've endorsed 2 candidates there, both Judge Terry Love, who's a circuit judge down there in the New Orleans area, and Judge Piper Griffin, who's a district court judge down there.
And who's the incumbent?
Burnett Johnson. She's hit that 70-year age limit, which in Louisiana we don't have term limits for the judiciary. If you turn 70 before qualifying, you cannot qualify for your seat. And we've lost a couple judges. That Supreme Court justice in North Louisiana, there was a resignation, I think for family or health reasons, for Justice Marcus Clark. Here in the Baton Rouge area, more specifically, we've got the next highest court, the Court of Appeals, second highest court in the state. Judge Tony Higginbotham has hit the age limit. I know there are a few stories about that come qualifying time. And there are 3 candidates for her seat. There is a Democrat, Melanie Newcomb Jones, was registered independent, changed parties. This seat, while Tony Higginbotham is a Republican, the demographics of the parish have shifted. This isn't the entire parish, it's the parish minus what's considered North Baton Rouge, kind of the downtown area up to the Exxon plants and everything west of Airline Highway. It's kind of a coin toss district between an R and a D. There are two Republicans running. Judge Chris Hester, he's a city court judge in Baton Rouge, and we have endorsed Chris Hester. Thought his experience on the city court, he's got 10 years as a city court prosecutor, chief homicide prosecutor under the district attorney Hiller Moore, and he's won a race before. He's run 2 races. He's an avid campaigner and thought that he was probably the most viable candidate. Joanna Landrino is a local attorney, and she's the other Republican on the ballot. So there's a 3-way race there. And then we get down to district court elections. You've got Judge Hunter Green running for re-election. He's a family court judge. Judge Richard Anderson has received our endorsement. He's a criminal court judge.
And he has been on the bench for more than 20 years.
Yes, yeah, I think 98 maybe is when he got elected, sometime in there. Yeah.
He asked for the criminal court docket many years ago, and as I understand it, his reputation is the definition of very tough but very fair. If you deserve to go to jail, he's going to send you to jail.
That's right. Yeah, he, in the 19th JDC, the most senior judges get to choose whether they want civil or criminal. Most of the judges want to ascend to what they feel is a more higher practice, I guess, is the civil. Judge Anderson has been very comfortable with the criminal court. Feels that he makes the most difference in our community on the criminal court. And we really admired that and are supporting him for his reelection. He's in kind of a tough reelection campaign. His election section is kind of the central Zachary Baker area, and the demographics have flipped where that used to be. There's 5 judges elected from that section. It used to be kind of a lean R district, and now it's kind of a lean D district. So he's in a tough reelection campaign.
What, if I may ask, what are your criteria for recommending a candidate for a judgeship?
So we send our questionnaire out to every district court judge who qualified, or district candidate for district court judge or higher who qualified. And our questionnaires are kind of a bio. Give us your rundown. Are you married? You have children? When did you graduate law school? What law school did you go to? And then we kind of get into issues of transparency and accountability. I know we've seen probably 3 or 4 articles over the last year about how the Supreme Court disciplines judges and how there's really not a whole lot of sunlight in that process. And so that's one of the big things we're looking for is how do they view that process? Can there be more sunlight let into that process? We try and kick the tires on their thoughts on efficiency. Is their local district court, do they find it to be efficient in the way it handles its cases, its dockets? Are you waiting a year and a half for a court date? Are you waiting 4 months for a court date? Is there technology available, especially now with COVID? A lot of them have moved to Zoom status conferences, which from what I've heard from both the judges and the practitioners, the attorneys, they really like it. It saves them time. It saves their clients money, not having to sit in court all day, waiting in the judges' chambers to get those reports. So just moving our judiciary into the 21st century, and so you're not there all day waiting. That's
were your questions for the candidates formulated to try to determine if they were going to be the sort of judge that would seek to legislate from the bench or merely uphold the law as written?
Yes. So that is a question on our questionnaire. Is are you trying to find law in the way that you can apply it to reach the outcome you see, or are you following the law to an ultimate conclusion? And certainly we would like the judges to have a more constitutionalist or originalist viewpoint of how they chase the law to find the conclusion.
I don't want to use the word conservatism, but traditional judging.
Yeah. We don't want the judges to try and create a solution. We want them to follow the laws passed by the legislature and let the legislature write the law. just to be frank.
Fair enough. Who else you got on your list of endorsements?
So we've got Judge Tiffany Foxworth. She won a special election in August. This was originally supposed to be April-May election. Because of COVID, got pushed to July, August. She won by, I think, 26 or 27 votes in that August runoff. We've issued an endorsement for her. She's facing the same opponent whom she narrowly beat there. And then Quintillis Lawrence is running for the district court, and he was very impressive. A veteran. He's been a prosecutor both in Orleans Parish and I think a public defender here in East Baton Rouge Parish. And we think very highly of him.
And is this an open seat where the incumbent is no longer running or is timed out? Or
this is, I believe, this is Janice Clark's seat. I could
that's right.
be
Yeah, she's
wrong, but I think
aged out of the system.
Yes, I think so. And then in the Ascension area, there's Aaron Chasson. His background is a civil defense attorney, insurance defense attorney. Had several members and legislators approach us about him, and he checked all the boxes and exceeded expectations, even though we had high expectations due to the recommendations. And then one more in the Baton Rouge area is William Scott Dykes. He is running in Livingston, Tangipahoa, and St. Helena Parish, and this is for an open seat it was vacated by Judge Beth Wolf, who ascended to a circuit court seat in the special election. So we're supporting him over there in the Livingston, Tangi area.
I think it's very, very hard for candidates for judge to campaign. You know, what can they say other than, I'm going to be fair and I'm going to follow the law?
You can't really run on your ideology, can you?
No.
Yeah, so they're restricted by judicial canons, and they can't ask for money. They can't attend their fundraisers. They're not supposed to look at the reports.
They can't attend their fundraisers?
They can attend.
Okay.
But while at their fundraiser, they can't
say, write me a check.
That's right. So they've got to rely on their campaign committees, their surrogates, to be able to do that fundraising for them, that outreach. They can't accept a check. Their family members can't accept checks on their behalf. They've got to have their campaign committee do it. We typically see they run as law and order candidates. You know, you're not running as some will try and say I'm running as the Republican or the Democrat and stuff like that. But usually it's constitutionalist, law and order, protect families, things of that nature.
I do remember during the last election cycle, one local district judge got into some public relations trouble when she had somebody appearing in a commercial that would give the impression that she was going to let you off if you were charged criminally.
Come down to 19 JDC and get some love.
Get some love.
We won't name that judge.
But again, when you talk about these people that would like to be elected to the Supreme Court, the judicial review and discipline, all of it rests in the lap of the Supreme Court of this state.
That's right. And not to be too critical of the Supreme Court, because they will, in the last year, they will have elected 3 new justices to their 7-member panel. So hopefully there is some evolution there. They have, you know, aside from the disciplinary issues, which the court is trying to move towards more daylight, and then on the financial disclosure forms, the Metro Crime Commission down in New Orleans area they're not publicly available. Like if you wanted to go look at a legislator or a Metro Council or a mayor's financial disclosure form, you go to the ethics website, it's there. If you want to look at a judge's financial disclosure form, you have to submit a public records request to the Supreme Court. Everyone knows who you're pulling, you know, who's pulled it on whom. And not to say that there's going to be retribution there, but it opens itself up to that.
Well, it also seems that this is one of these things where, you know, you say you don't want to set a table for inherent bias, but it seems quite the opposite here. That you would be setting a table for knowing or creating an impression of bias if someone is an undisclosed, unless you go through all the hoops, donor to a judge who got elected, and their case for bid rigging is coming before that judge in that court.
Yeah, and thankfully the Supreme Court now, because the Metro Council Crime Commission took all these reports and put them on their website, the Supreme Court says, yeah, that makes sense. We're going to take them and put them on our website. So it took this effort by a third party to go and put it on and generate the news stories and a public outcry to move the Supreme Court forward. It'd be nice if they were a little bit more proactive in changing the courts up just a little bit to allow a little bit more access. And you know, if they could do it on their own versus the public dragging them, kicking and screaming, we would certainly look favorably upon that.
We're going to continue. Bo Staples is the political is the political director for Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. A brief break, and then we're back with more on Exiles TV.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
By all standards, he is a champion for consumers. Because of Public Service Commissioner Eric Skrmetta, our utility rates are 35% less than the national average, the lowest in all of America. He saved ratepayers over $8 billion. Commissioner Skrmetta brought us more reliable power plants and energy-efficient solar fields. Public Service Commissioner Eric Skrmetta. Keep the commissioner who keeps our rates low.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with The Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
I owed the IRS $10,000. The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
Hey, we're back. This is Exiles TV. Bill Perfito over yonder. I'm Kevin Gallagher. And in the center seat, say hello to Bo Staples. He is the political director for the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. We've been talking some judgeships. You know, we're seen in 23 parishes, not the least of which is, Acadiana, the Lafayette area. Do you have any seats over there that you're...
Yeah, so there's a competitive three-way race for a district judge seat there. We've endorsed Kay Carey Gautreaux. She's running against Kimmy Matron and Michelle Bio. We think Gautreaux is probably the strongest candidate there. Then there in Vermilion Parish, there's a three-way race, and we've endorsed Ricky LaFleur there. He's a local attorney running against the current judicial commissioner, kind of a magistrate who handles the off-duty some of the off-duty responsibilities for the judges there. We think very highly of Ricky LaFleur. And then there's a race in the 16th JDC. We've actually endorsed all three candidates there. We thought very highly of them. At 16th JDC is St. Martin and Iberia and St. Mary parishes. And you've got one candidate from each of those. The parishes are kind of equally distributed population-wise. That's going to be one of the more competitive races, and then we'll certainly go to a runoff. And we're excited to see some of the candidates there. Over on the North Shore, there's a race for a district judge seat. We've endorsed Ellen Creel for that seat over Richard Ducote. And then there's a lot of activity in New Orleans. They have a lot of seats going on the ballot there, and we've endorsed a few candidates. Pat Rooney, Chris Cox, and for the appeals court seat over there is Jude Gravois, kind of in the River Parishes area. I think that's St. Charles, St. John, St. James. So we're excited to support them. It's been kind of fun to get around the state and see the different personalities and what's playing in different races and different areas and what appeals to the voters there.
Do you make endorsements in the U.S. Senate race?
We do not. We don't play in federal elections. Certainly Bill Cassidy has been a friend to the business and industry folks. I, in full disclosure, I actually worked on his 2008 congressional campaign about 12 years ago, knocking doors and putting up signs and things like that. I think the world of Bill personally, but our organization does not participate in or issue endorsements in the federal races.
Well, that is probably just as well.
Yeah.
I find his race very, very interesting. His main competitor, and of course there are 5 people in the race, his main competitor, Adrian Perkins, seems to be very well financed, is spending an awful lot of money. And Bill Cassidy is spending a pretty good amount of money as well. Is this, as a political analyst, is this just kind of a run-up for Adrian Perkins, or can he actually force a runoff because there are so many people in the race?
I don't think that there can be that there will be a runoff in that race. I think because Bill has done a pretty good job, in my opinion, over the last 6 years, especially for in Louisiana. You've got to get almost all the swing vote as a Democrat to be able to hit that 50%, which Governor Edwards did a great job of doing. You just don't see that in the polling with Bill's race. He reaches across party lines. He's brought several fixes, in his opinion, for the ACA that are bipartisan bills, supported by both parties. And I don't think he's in too much trouble. I do think, my gut tells me that we have redistricting next year. And so one of the goals of the Democratic Party is to get a second minority-majority district, whether that be Baton Rouge-based that kind of snakes up the river, or get something very similar to Foster Campbell's PSC district. And Foster is a registered Democrat, and get something that runs from Shreveport to Monroe that's competitive. So is the national money coming in for Adrian Perkins to try and build his name ID in the hopes that in 2022 there's a congressional seat that he can run for. So that could be interesting. One thing I saw, Cedric Richmond has kind of put out his New Orleans ballot for candidates up and down the ballot, and he did not have Adrian Perkins on his ballot as the U.S. Senate candidate, which I found a little odd. He had Derek Edwards.
Yeah, I think he and Derek Edwards go back a pretty long way.
Yeah. So they're a little bit split, I guess, unless that's just a personal thing between Cedric and or Congressman Richmond and Derek Edwards, but to not have the entirety of the states, I guess he's the only one, but to not have him on board the Senate endorsed candidate by the Democrats is a little interesting.
Again, as a political analyst question, it doesn't seem like there's a real race in any of the congressional districts except 5 where Ralph Abraham is out. Wide open seat. What do you see in District 5?
So most of the population is in the Monroe area. So you've got Lance Harris running in Alexandria.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Luke Letlow and Scotty Robinson running in the Monroe area. And then there's kind of some also Rams. The Democrat there, Marcel, I think, Martin Lamel. He, from what I have seen, it looks like he's going to get a runoff seat. He's going to get one of the runoff spots. It would take something a little crazy to get both Harris and Letlow into the runoff. But those are Harris and Letlow, the two best finance candidates.
Pretty poor Democratic voter turnout to get the two of those guys into a runoff, wouldn't it?
Yes, yeah, which just isn't what we're seeing in early voting, to be honest with you. So I think there's a chance that if Scotty Robinson and Luke Letlow split the vote in Monroe, that Lance could slide in there. I know I think they're both up. Both Harris and Letlow are up on TV, but that's really the like you said, the only competitive federal race in the state is that. And so it kind of turns the battleground into the Florida parishes and who can do the most outreach there. And when you talk about getting from Monroe over to Bogalusa, it's a 5-hour drive. That's tough. You almost have to be a pilot like Congressman Abraham to be able to
a lot of ground to cover. Bo Staples, we always appreciate having you with us on the program, and we'll invite you back. If you want to find out more, go to the website, labi.org.
And if you want to find out more about your judges, there's louisianajudiciary.com, who breaks down where your judges are, where they're running, and whose seat they're filling.
All right, a brief break, and we're back with more. Stick around.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Right now, choose any new 20 Mazda and get 0% for 60 months, plus 90 days deferred payments during the Team Mazda upgrade event happening now at Team Mazda on Airline.
Hi, business owners. Phase 3. Woohoo! But do your customers know you're back? Well, that's where the Clarence Bugg Show and Pelican Broadcasting can help. Right now, we've got great rates on advertising packages to help you get the word out. Shoot me an email at bugsclarence@gmail.com. Or better yet, call me up. I'd love to talk with you. 225-485-6839. Let's get together and make Phase 3 the best it can possibly be.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9. Happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Welcome back. Exiles TV, Bill Profita, Kevin Gallagher. Tomorrow on the program, the Chief of Police and the Chief Administrative Officer talking about budget for police force in our area. Now then.
Question for you. As you go to the ballots, do you get tired of hearing the lawmakers talking about, we got a fiscal cliff. It seems like every year there's a fiscal cliff. If you're tired of all this endless talk of fiscal cliffs, on November 3rd, you have a chance to change that with a vote of yes on Constitutional Amendment 4. Now, yes on number 4 means a stable budget process, job growth for Louisiana, so consider a vote of yes on Constitutional Amendment 4. This is paid for by Pelican Action, and if you'd like more information on 4 and the rest of the constitutional amendments, for more information, go to their website, which is pelicanaction.org. Pelicanaction.org.
Lots of stuff on the November 3rd ballot.
It's going to be a busy one, and I hope that people go down the ballot, cast a vote everywhere. And please, I know this is asking a lot of some people, please just don't go party, give some consideration to these candidates and, and vote your gut.
Sometimes, and this is one of these times, even more important than people running for office are these constitutional amendments.
If people don't know what the constitutional amendment does, what do? They either skip it or
vote no.
Vote no.
But these things are like a timeshare. You can never get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
So take a moment and educate yourself about these constitutional amendments so that you can make an informed decision on the constitutional amendments that you think is right for you and right for the state. It's a long ballot. Take your time. We will see you tomorrow. Clarence Buggs is next with Councilman Dwight Hudson. Be safe.
God bless.